Studio Funk.
Welcome back to an episode of Studio Funk. Yes, we're back. The monthly podcast documenting the past and today. Everything funk and soul related. On today's show, we got the wonderful Jon Kirby joining us here today on Studio Funk. The writer and curator in the past who has worked with Wax Poetics and the Numero Group. Whilst he worked on the Numero Group, he worked on the notorious, fantastic project of Universal Togetherness Band. That's right. Working alongside Andre Gibson to bring those unreleased tracks 30 years later. But not just that, Jon Kirby's work goes far. He's done a lot of great work out in the Numero Group. including working on the High Frequencies project, aka the Chicago Party project, and also the Purple Snow one as well, documenting the sounds of Minneapolis. So yes, as you can expect, we've got a lot of great stuff to get into. The interview is going to be about just over an hour. A breakdown of conversations, and also featuring some tracks to go alongside. And of course, to wrap up the show as well, we've got a nice tribute mix for Jon Kirby. I'm going to be playing some releases that he's worked on at Numero Group. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show lined up. But before we get into that, I know you're feeling a bit cold, so we got to warm things up. Keep it moving right here on Studio Funk. Like I said, we got to warm things up. soon. Exclusive interview with Jon Kirby. Only here on Studio Funk. Keep it locked.
Last night I had a dream. I was in a lover's galaxy, and like a star you shine on me. Your eyes were like diamonds, and sparkled bright in total ecstasy. Let me in your majesty. Please, space lady, hey, will you capture me, oh lady? Her voice was like magic. It echoed with the voice of purity. And then her kisses sealed my destiny. Sweet exotic queen, baby, you captured all my hopes and dreams. Baby, would you let me be your space lady? Capture me, oh lady. Reality won't let me be, no it won't. Girl, I'm hypnotized by fantasy. Space lady, capture me, please lady. Take me higher.
You're the one love that I always dream about. A one love there's no living without. My miracle, my lady. You're my friend. And when I feel you shine your love light on my heart, I need you like I did right from the start. And it's always like the first time, once again. Me without you, can't imagine me without you. Brings out the best in me. It sets my soul free. The only love for me will always be. I love you in 1,000 different ways. I love you more than words can ever say. And always your heart will be my love's home. And I thank you for the magic in my life. And I thank you forever in your eyes. And I thank God I can call your love my own. Me without you, can't imagine me without you. Brings out the best in me, sets my soul free. The only love for me will always be. Ooh. Brings out the best in me, it sets my soul free. The only love for me will always be. Heaven and earth, both of them you. Oh lady, my lady, that is why I love you like I do. Your love.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? This is Walla P representing Voyage Fantastique Prime Source Mag, and you're listening to Studio Funk with my man, my homie, AZ, As Wide. Peace.
Girl in the leather pants, you make me want to really dance with you. With you, you look so fine, the whole world stares. There's no one to compare with you.
Togetherness Band. Andre Gibson. Coming up next, interview with Jon Kirby. It's going to be a special one. Just to say before we kick off as well, I know you're a bit of a podcast veteran yourself with Dog Patch podcast as well. So yeah, man.
Lost, defeated.
So when I was looking this up, I thought to myself, yeah, this guy is, most of my guests are like a rookie in that department. They're like, I'm not sure if I can do a podcast. I'm like, man, you just got to talk. It's fine.
Yeah, go listen to Dog Packs. Those dudes sound like they know what they're doing. I mean, that was really just an extension of Dante. We lived on the same street. He still lives in the same apartment, but I'm back in North Carolina now. But we lived on the same street and became really good friends. We didn't know each other before I moved to Chicago to work for Numero, but we had several friends in common, important friends in common. And, that is really with the sound bites, with the way we populate our Instagram feed. It's like the closest thing you can come to like a manifestation of what it's like to hang out at his apartment, in this sort of like musical free fall of just like you have access to some of the most impressive, obscure, just gorgeous records ever recorded. But you're with this person, it's not even really, it's hard to explain. Like, it's like Dante doesn't talk about music. He just like bees about music. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to be at some DJ night talking to some fool about how some record used to cost $600 and now it costs $1,200. Like he wants to talk about the Bulls. He wants to talk about the Blackhawks. Dante is just like such a unique individual. So to do a podcast with him, the fact that I think Dog Patch is actually that I think we've actually done a good job of replicating like so many like drunken, weeded out nights at his apartment at like 4 a.m. listening to like a 1-minute edit of Art of Noise, Moments in Love is just like really an incredible accomplishment. So yeah, man, I mean, it's one of those things like do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And Dog Patch is just really like a hilarious and like really it's a blessing and a privilege that we've gotten so much support for something that, I mean, even to me feels like an inside joke, but like as you roll with it, it's like people roll with you, they kind of like they start to understand the cadence of it. And a lot of people complained at first. They're like, I really find the drops, like the sound effects, distracting. And then like 2 years later, they'd be like, I'd like to retract my statement. I now understand that they're an inseparable part of the podcast, and I am embarrassed that I ever complained about it. So yeah, we're just having fun listening to music. And I think honestly, like, I come from a journalism background. I love records. I love music. And I feel like records mess up music sometimes, like Andre Gibson is somebody who never put out a record in his life until he was, in his late 50s. And, that was really a privilege to be able to be the guy who, essentially broke Andre Gibson, who got it mixed, who got it figured out, who got it sequenced, who got the story, committed to liner notes. And, like you said, like people are still finding out about it. It's like, there's never a bad time to find out about something that was recorded 40 years ago. Like it's always going to be something revelatory. somebody hearing it for the first time, just as somebody hearing Talking Heads for the first time would be like, wow, this is really different.
Yeah.
And I really think of Andre Gibson and Universal Togetherness Band and their music as being something that might have been like a Talking Heads type catalyst for what I would consider like disco punk, or like, you know, very much like a black reaction to it. Like I listen to a lot of LCD Sound System, and I think this just sounds like Andre Gibson and his friends who were gifted players were not necessarily playing a kind of music for which there was a template. And, you know, and occasionally the bassist would play drums and the drummer would play bass. And there was a sort of like informal, very, I don't know, like there was no wrong notes like in Universal Togetherness Band. And I think that they took a lot of chances and did a lot of things that would have been counterintuitive to Chick Corea or somebody who knew more about music. You know, I think they knew just enough about music to be able to make something just like really great, but we're also scrappy enough to make it just like really earnest and relatable. So, you know, I think that kind of music, when you hear it, it always feels like a discovery, like you're being lit in on kind of like a secret, like, like, you know, New York's worried about what's going on in LA, and LA's worried about what's going on in New York, and Chicago isn't worried about anything. So like, you know, the fact that people weren't checking for the new, you know, disco art punk revolution coming out of Chicago is like not surprising to me. And Universal Togetherness Band was a blue collar band. They were playing along Rush Street and sort of like what would be sort of considered the kind of live music kind of epicenter of Chicago at that time, and playing the Taste of Chicago and all these festivals. They weren't necessarily trying to make a statement or trying to whatever, like, you know, it takes a certain kind of ego to say, oh, we're going to turn, you know, black music on its head and, you know, hold a mirror up to it and make it look at itself. And, you know, they were just trying to play gigs and like, and just, you know, hit a groove, you know, I mean, they were in a town of Titans. I mean, they grew up, you know, seeing Curtis Mayfield, Fred Cash drive, you know, down their streets. So they were just like, you know, they kind of wanted to be part of that, you know, Chicago, Chi-Town tradition. And so, but I do think, like I said, I mean, I don't think much. If you took the DNA of Universal Togetherness Band and you took the DNA of Talking Heads or Blondie or any of that stuff, I think you'd find more in common than different. It just happened in a different place, and it kind of didn't happen because they didn't get a record, they didn't get a break, they weren't they weren't playing in lofts in downtown New York where Keith Haring and Basquiat and Fab Five Freddy are all hanging out. You know, they're playing it like a sports bar on Rush Street. So, but I think that makes it all the more kind of amazing, is because they're playing this like really what I would consider sort of challenging R&B music for the everyman, you know what I mean? And so you know, I think Andre Gibson, you know, he's always believed in his music.
don't you know that I want you? Baby, don't you know that I need you? Baby, don't you know that I want you? Baby, don't you know that I need you? You don't even have to say a word. Just come my way. Won't you come and go with me? Won't you come and share my dream? Baby, don't you know that I want you? Baby, don't you know that I need you? Baby, don't you know that I want you? Baby, don't you know that I need you? Baby, I want you.
You know, he had his brother, two twin brothers in his band, and one of his classmates from Columbia. And so I think there was like a real family vibe to everything they did. And,
Definitely.
you know, I think it's special. And I just, there's nothing I compare. The only things I can compare Universal Togetherness Band to are other things that I can't compare anything to. You know, it's just, again, they're these sort of unicorn moments in music that just like happen, and nothing precedes them, nothing supersedes them. It's like when people tried to over intellectualize that punk band Death, the Black brothers from Detroit that made that sort of like random punk grail in 1976. It's just like, yeah, you can't, you know, you can't explain why lightning strikes this tree and not that tree. You know, you can't always say, well, this is derived from this. Sometimes you just have something incredible that happens in a vacuum in the mind of somebody who's just a little bit different. And I think Andre Gibson is that guy who's just a little bit different.
Most definitely. And I just want to take your mind back a little bit to the time when you first discovered Universal Togetherness Band, and just taking back to your moments of like your first reactions of discovering as well. And your time of working with Numero Group. I know you worked on various projects, and you did also work on the Chicago Party project as well. Yeah. So just to think about it retrospectively, the Chicago Party project happened first. Was that your then discovery of finding out about Andre?
Yeah, so Numero is a label where there's, you know, some projects take 10 years to make. I mean, some things are just like in various states of completion at all times. Yeah. You know, you don't see one project from start to finish and then start on a new one. You're kind of juggling many things at once. If you really want to go to the start of the Chicago Party, you have to go to the Pieces of Peace LP issue on DJ Shadow's Cali Tex Records, which was a unreleased record that was licensed from Willie Woods.
All right.
And because Rob Sevier from Numero and Dante Carfagna were in Chicago, they sort of brokered that. Dante and Josh Davis are good friends, better known as DJ Shadow. And even at that time, Willie Woods was like, hey, you know, I got this box of 3/4-inch U-Matic masters for a TV show I did in 1982. Now we're talking about a Pieces of Peace LP on Cali Tex in 2007. For, you know, Numero is, you know, barely an entity. They may have had a few records come out on vinyl at that point. So Rob sort of stashes that away in his mind. Okay, you know, in Country Club Hills, Willie Woods has a box of videos on a format that's difficult to review of a TV show he did okay, you know? And I think maybe occasionally with a royalty payment or something to Willie Woods, Willie would say, hey man, I still got this box of TV show. I think you really ought to come check it out. It's called The Chicago Party. And, you know, one day the smoke had cleared to such a degree that Rob was able to get the tapes digitized and check it out. And it was clearly something really special. I mean, The Chicago Party had just over 20 episodes. Every episode had, it was kind of a mixture of like Saturday Night Live, In Living Color, Wayne's World. I mean, there was definitely this like low budget aspect to it, but
the skits,
the skits are just like totally just, you know, hilarious and absurd. And I have found that that's like really, there's like this element of humor in all of Chicago, this sort of like bizarreness that I even see with like, there's this really great DJ named Mark Grusain from Chicago who did a couple BBE releases, like the Disco Sounds of Chicago.
Right.
You know, I'll be following him on Instagram, and all of a sudden there'll be like a picture of him in high school with like a dinosaur mask on at a rave. And like he's posing with a guy from Ministry, like this industrial rock group. So it's just like, you know, I think weirdness, absurdity, that sort of like Second City improv nature that has existed in Chicago has lent itself to sort of like people being kind of goofy and kind of not taking themselves too seriously and having a good sense of humor and, you know, having these little like limericks that they can kind of spin off. So you know, this show is clearly something special. And I think as a record label who has to find something musical about it to connect with, you know, our audience, you know, what really struck me was that every musician who performed on the show lip synced to a recording of their own.
Yes, sir.
So whether that group was the Deltas, who had records out, or you know, Marzette Griffin, or there was a group called Coffee who had a record out on
Coffee,
Light, I believe. But I'm sitting here, or Yvonne Gage, Garden of Eden. You know, I was like, okay, I can clearly see on Discogs that these records came out and they are singing along to these records. But then there was other people like Donnell Pittman or Jesus Wayne who are singing these songs that don't have a reciprocal on Discogs. So, okay, I'm making notes of, you know, who sings what, where, you know, is this on record? Is this something that they were just singing off a cassette tape that they ran off at the studio that day? And when Universal Togetherness Band came on and they play Pull Up, which is included on the Chicago Party soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of struck. I'd been watching these episodes for like about a week at this point, because he's on one of the last episodes. I think it's on episode 19.
Right.
And nothing had just stopped me in my tracks like this. It's got this really raggedy kind of punk funk bass line, and this kind of like Andre Gibson is holding a guitar the way you would not hold a guitar, which is with the strap over one arm, like you were holding like a Tommy gun. And the keyboardist, Paul Hammond, who was actually the guitar player, is behind a Wurlitzer, like just, you know, playing it like you were in, you know, a lip sync contest. And that's essentially what it was. But, and you know, the bass player is not hitting the bass solo. I mean, he kind of like looks like but I'm just like, who are these fools? Because the song is just like, it reminds me of, you know, like Headless Heroes, or like one of these sort of left field avant-garde, like R&B grails. Okay, Universal Togetherness Band. And I literally, at the end of the episode, or at the end of their segment, they all introduce themselves. And Andre Gibson says, "I'm Andre Gibson, lead singer, songwriter, and composer." And so I search Andre Gibson, Universal Togetherness Band, and there's one result. Like, there's never one result on Google, but there is one result on Google, and it's his like Reverb Nation page.
All right.
And I say, okay, it's got his phone number. I give him a call. May I speak to Andre Gibson? Yes. This is Andre Gibson of Universal Togetherness Band. I haven't heard that name in a couple decades, but yeah, that's me. And,
wow.
We have mastered from, like, there's been artists who have said, I went to my dead manager's house and went into the car that was in the barn behind his house, and I found a briefcase with a demo cassette on it. Can you master from this? And we have.
Man.
Just the things that you are forced to do when...
Just to get a source of material, yeah.
Just to get a source of this material are crazy. Like with Alfonso Lovo, it was an acetate that he smuggled out of Nicaragua during a military coup.
What?
Yeah, we're talking like really serious things that were just nearly lost forever. Andre Gibson was like quite the opposite. I have tapes on tapes, 1/4 inch, 2 inch, with all the songs I ever did. They're in a climate controlled room.
Jeez.
When do you want to hear them? And he came to our office. We were over on Marshall Boulevard at the time, near the jail. And he came over and just started putting these tapes on. And me and the engineer at the time, Haley.
So this is the crazy.
Just sat there, song after song, just each one more absurd than the next.
So this is the crazy thing that I have to remember here is that obviously you're all in Chicago at the time, so you're just like, hey, you're still in Chicago as well, and you're able just to like get to him that quickly.
That's the beauty of being in Chicago, is that I lived in Chicago for 7 years, from 2011 to 2018.
Mm-hmm.
In those 7 years, I knew 3 people who left. And those were people from Chicago who'd been there that whole life.
Right.
Just like, I'm gonna try out Brooklyn. Fuck it. But Chicago, it's such a tremendous city. It was going, if New York had not, New York actually merged all the boroughs into one city to avoid becoming the second largest city in America behind Chicago. Chicago is massive. And it has something for everybody. It's a great American city where there's a black middle class, there is opportunity, there's manufacturing, there's technology, there's art, there's culture, there's just like kind of room for everybody in this way that I think is like really special. It's a really great place to run a record label like what we do, because I think certainly in terms of black music, and we've proved that such is the case with psychedelic rock and, jazz and everything else. Everybody, whatever, Ahmad Jamal, Herbie Hancock. Just think of the people who came out of Chicago.
It's rich of history, man, rich.
And then just go all the way down, not all the way down, but let's say all the way out to your Andre Gibsons.
Yeah.
Your Willie Woods, your whatever, from your Curtis Mayfields and your Earth, Wind and Fires to your Universal Togetherness bands. There was just enough of a, nightlife economy, tourism economy, for a lot of bands to thrive, to develop a new sound and to perfect an old one. So, I just really think, like I said, like Andre Gibson's not going to pick up and move anywhere. Like, he is Chicago through and through.
Yeah.
And his daughters went away to Alabama for college where his brother lives. But Andre Gibson is like a lot of people I met in Chicago who just like never even would not know where to even get the notion that they would ever leave Chicago, because it's just nothing's exciting about the other places. Once you've lived in Chicago, you got good rent, easy parking. Hey, man, it's the place. People sleep on Chicago. Don't sleep on Chicago.
Yeah, I always hear about the rich history of Chicago, as you do naturally. People tie, even like later down the line of the years, like late 80s, we got house music as well, and the birth of that from Chicago. It's definitely a place where it's got something for everyone, like you said. And
I mean, comedy. I mean, think about just like Hannibal Buress. Think about just, Second City. I mean, there's just always somebody, whether it's sports, whether it's comedy, entertainment. I mean, John Hughes, the director, Home Alone, Breakfast Club. I mean,
that's
just so many. Oh, yeah.
Didn't realize that.
John
I didn't realize.
Hughes is from Detroit, but most of his stuff was based in Chicago or the suburbs, and that's where he spent his most prolific era. So, I mean, it's really, it's a place where, like, for instance, right now, Chicago still has a public access channel, and this public access channel is so insane. Like, you would think YouTube would do away with the need for public access, but you'll still cut it on and there'll be like some absurdist, like, LSD casualty white guys doing like an improvised joke show where they're like all playing banjos upside down, and the next one will be like a black soap opera that was shot with iPhones. In every room the smoke detector's dying, so it's like beep, every like 45 seconds. Because they need to change the battery in their smoke detector, but they're gonna film a movie that's gonna go on public access. I mean, things you would think on, like, I've seen
this sounds
stuff
crazy
on public access where it's just like a camera set up in the corner of a steppers club, and there's two people dancing to like "Love's Gonna Last" by Jeffrey, and that's it. That's what the show is. Like, there's no screening process. Like, it's almost like chat roulette or something, where it's just like,
what?
You hit a button on your phone and all of a sudden you're on every cable box in Chicago. So Chicago just has like a support for the arts, an appreciation of the arts, and just somebody like Chance the Rapper. I'm like, that could never happen anywhere but Chicago, because Chicago also has Chicago's back. Like, Chicago is the biggest. You could not have a better city to support an art form, to show up, to be like, we'll help you do your video, we'll help you do your soap opera with your iPhone. Like, it's a place that I've always noticed that, like, when I showed up from North Carolina to Chicago and people were like, "Oh, where are you from? Oh, you work with Numero? Like, that's great. They do great work. Like, why don't you come DJ our night and do our thing? And like, also, like, come over, like, we're cooking pozole." And like, I just got so much love and so much, like, I was welcomed so thoroughly that, when I had to leave for family reasons because my father was having health problems, it was a really hard place to leave, because nothing would have ever made me want to leave, besides family.
Beautiful to hear, though. Really great. Beautiful to hear. I don't think there's many places around the world that can capture that kind of essence and spirit as a place. And you know, and you can reflect back and be like, your time there, you definitely had probably like the best times that anyone could have to like fall in these places and work for Numero Group and able to meet people like Andre and people like Willie Woods as well.
Yeah, I mean, and on top of that, I did Purple Snow. You know, I did Edge of Daybreak, which was a record that I'd known about since I lived in North Carolina because it was a prison record that was recorded in Virginia. So, you know, there was just like a lot of different ways that I got to, you know, explore and build upon in a meaningful fashion, you know, my love for music, which is ultimately... You know, I worked for Wax Poetics in the mid-2000s,
right.
And the thing about Wax Poetics is you can write this gorgeous article about this record. The first thing people are going to want to know is, oh, that sounds great. Like, where can I hear this? You can't, you know? And so, like, I found that, you know, Numero was sort of like the perfect opportunity to not only tell a really engaging story about a record that would make someone appreciate, you know, just how uncommon this recording was, and then actually get to listen to it, you know, and it might be something where they never read the liner notes, or like after 5 years they read the liner notes and they form a deeper relationship and appreciation for the record that they've formed, you know, their own story for, you know, like it's like with Universal Togetherness Band, some people may have only heard it on Spotify and it's in their favorite Spotify playlist, and you know, in their head, they're picturing this one thing, and then, you know, they get the opportunity to hear your podcast or see a little web documentary or learn more about Andre Gibson and just find out like, oh, this guy's like the real thing, you know, like this guy, he's never stopped writing music. You know, he probably has a new CD that came out today.
Yeah.
He's just that prolific and that motivated.
Yeah, and I think it's quite a rare thing to find someone who manages to contain that essence and to continue to strive to create music. Like on the show that I had with him, when I was talking to him, he said that like he's got a new album coming out soon, but he's got another like 3 albums he's just sitting on, waiting to come out. So like he's constantly recording. It's just like the only person I know who was like that really is someone like Prince, who was just like, you know, everyone knows Prince just recorded at any given opportunity he had. And I think Andre is pretty much that same caliber of like constantly creating music, but with a sense of quality as well. Like his latest album, Moving On, is so good. It's a remarkable piece that it's one of those things I want people to hear it more. I'm like, people need to hear this more. And it might be one of those things that people might not discover it until quite some years later maybe, but at the same time, like I said earlier, it's never too late anyway.
Well, you know, what's the saying? History is told by the victors. It's sort of like, you know, there are things we consider a household name, you know, certain groups, whether it's Prince or Sly and the Family Stone. But but that's because those are the success stories. You know, in an alternate universe, Andre Gibson could have been Prince. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that I think is really important to think about is that Prince recorded, you know, he was prolific in the studio, but he had almost unlimited resources and almost like a guaranteed platform for those songs. Andre Gibson made all this music with no guarantee that anything would ever come of it. So to me, Andre Gibson really is more of a risk taker. And, you know, I think that his drive is more impressive than Prince's, because it's almost like, you know, the time he spends making music is time he could be spending at work or with his, you know, looking after his children or landscaping or Andre still has a full-time job. Like Andre, I saw him, we got together for one of my birthdays. I think it was my 35th birthday. And he was a doorman at a fancy apartment building down on Lakeshore Drive, and he was also doing like Instacart deliveries. And I remember saying something like, "Andre, you been watching the NBA playoffs?" And he was like, "Man, I've been shoveling shit with a spoon." And I was just like, "Oh, bro, I'm so sorry." Like, you know, nobody who's been working like 80 hours a week wants to know have you been watching much basketball, Andre? You know, but I mean, he was still grinding, and then in whatever, you know, when he gets home at like 7 a.m. from his shift or whatever, he's going to the studio to record a song that's like been in his head all night. So, you know, Andre Gibson is just, I mean, again, somebody I was just destined to meet. We got the same sense of humor. We both play piano. We both, you know, sing falsetto to the best of our abilities. And he's just somebody who, you know, it's just like a year could go by, a week could go by, and we'll always find something to talk about. And when I come back to Chicago, I always make an effort to see him. And if I have a DJ night, he comes out. I mean, he don't even think about it. So we did a DJ event one time. It was somewhere fancy. I don't even remember, but we had a little Radio Shack mic and a test pressing on one of his 45s. And he came up and sang the whole thing.
Jeez.
And it was spot on. And he was up there singing through a Radio Shack mic, connected through the mixer. And this was at like House of Blues or something. We're opening for like Mad Lib or something. And it's like, no, here's Andre Gibson, like in his sweats, going to sing More Than Enough. And it's going to be incredible. And, you know, that was just like he's just the kind of guy who's just like, I don't know, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's like Andre Gibson's always ready.
Man, this is so beautiful to hear. It truly sounds like you two are just your brothers, you know?
I mean, ask him, you know, he knows what it is. Like we always connect, and I would, like I said, he'd have little parties. I go down there and I'd be like, all right, Andre, I got this good cognac. Like we'd stash it in the fridge, in the garage, not tell anybody about it. And he'd put out the kind of mid-grade cognac, and we'd get our little sips out of the, you know, secret fridge in the garage. And yeah, man, I mean, we're always like, it's to the point where like friends of mine on Facebook, music friends, people I've dealt with, because, you know, I never stop talking to artists and trying to find more people like Andre Gibson who made music that was never released. And it's to the point where like people I'm friends with on Facebook and him have their own little dialogue going, because it's just like a friend of Andre's is a friend of mine, and vice versa. And, you know, I used to love going places with Andre. Like, yeah, this is my producer, Jon Kirby. And I was like, oh, Lord. But it's true. You know what I mean?
Is that how he refers you to? Is that what he says?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it's a little bit like, you know, puffing out his chest a little bit too. But he deserves that. I mean, he deserves for people to understand. I mean, this is somebody who, again, like he could be the Black David Byrne of Chicago if just like a few more connections had been made, or he'd been at the right club at the right time, or he'd opened for Sun Ra Orchestra or something. But you know, that didn't happen. And I don't think that Andre has regrets or anything, but I do think that, you know, the job of an outfit like Numero is to sort of balance the scales a little bit in favor of the underdog and the hometown heroes and the people who really did make incredible music but just didn't have the breaks that other groups did. You know, I know like a few years ago when Rodriguez 6'2", who recorded for Sussex Records when there was, you know, Searching for Sugarman, when all that stuff happened.
Right.
I said, you know, these are great records, but there's so many stories like this that, you know, it should really be more democratic, and we should be a little bit more, you know, even with how we distribute this praise, because even in the modern music place, like you have whatever, Soul Sonic or Leon Bridges, it's like, all right, there's hundreds of groups like this. There's Duran Jones and the Indications. There's all these groups that are really great, but, you know, let's look at what their music is derived from and who the other groups are across the country making a similar sound. Because, like, as somebody who's been to 2 Grammy shows, I can say that the music industry is run like the top 40 chart. It's like I saw Sam Smith, your boy, from over there across the pond, get 6 Grammys in one night for one song, to where he ran out of things to say at his acceptance speeches. And then 4 years later, I see Bruno Mars get 6 Grammys, and he runs out of things to say at his acceptance speech. So we clearly live in a musical universe where like people's attention span is very short, and they're like, all right, just give me the Bob Marley legend of what's going on right now. You know, give me the 5 hottest things I can beg the DJ to play at the one nightclub I go to a week, and, you know, fuck everything else because I've never heard of it. I don't know the words to it, and therefore it's useless to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's really, you know, guys like us who want to know more about somebody like Andre Gibson are a minority. But, like, I just feel like I don't know how we as a, like, kind of musical economy society, we don't learn anything from, like, the Shuggy Otises or, like, the Rodriguez's or whatever. Like, why it doesn't occur to us that, like, hey, like, there's a guy like Ned Doheny.
You will always be the one for me.
This is something that happened today. I was on Instagram and I listened to this new song by somebody. I won't say who it is. I'll probably tell you afterwards.
Okay. Fair enough.
But as soon as I heard it, I was like, hold on a minute. This is Andre's track. And they were sampling Universal Togetherness Band. And I was like, what? Actually, I'll say who it is. So the group, the band is called Hot Chip. So you've probably heard of them. They were quite hot. Well, pun intended, I would say. They were hot quite a few years ago. But they're also trying to do a bit of a comeback now. But anyway, they sampled More Than Enough, Universal Togetherness Band. So I hit up Andre immediately and I was like, Andre, are you aware of this? And he was like, no. And he's like, hold on a moment. And obviously he was just like, what's going on and stuff. But then it turns out, I think it was okay. I think obviously they did license it through Numero and stuff like that. Because I know Numero has quite open things like that where you could approach the label and be like, hey, we want to like use this piece of song or for reasons, whatever. Because I know Andre's told me before that he's had his songs featured on TV series and things like that as well. So he's had good successes on those. But it was really interesting hearing this band, Hot Chip, use the sample of Universal Togetherness Band. And it made me think, hold on a moment, is Andre's music reaching to another level that I'm not aware of because of its successes through TV shows as well now?
Well, I mean, that's just through music supervisors. And, the beautiful thing about the Numero catalog is that you have music supervisors who they want something like whatever, The Funky Drummer by James Brown. Like, okay, well, you don't have $250,000 to license that from the James Brown estate. How about any number of songs from our catalog that have like a funky drum breakdown in them? And so, I think that music supervisors love our label because we, our rates favor the artist.
Right.
They can, with a clear conscience, license something from us and know that a healthy portion of the money that they pay us will go to the original artist. So it's sort of like a farm to table music supervision, kind of structure. But I mean, I think that's great because honestly, as a rap fan, litigious musicians from the 70s were the reason that rap turned into these kind of keyboard monstrosities, is because they couldn't sample anymore, so they had to make do with what they had, which was all of the black keys on the keyboard and drum software. And so I think being able to sample, say, Mind and Matter, being able to sample Jimmy Jam Harris III compositions from the 70s from Numero for a couple $1,000s and being able to make sample-based music is going to take music back to a place that, does what you want it to do, which is to recontextualize older music for younger people. And, I am one of a part of it, this Numero would not exist without hip-hop, without people of my generation hearing Cypress Hill hits from the bong and being like, I really like this song. In fact, I like it so much that I now like Son of a Preacher Man because it's just a dope groove. You know what I mean? And so, I think I sympathize with people like Bob James and, Syl Johnson and people who, wanted to really make sure they got their money when they were sampled. But I also, I really think that making a song out of another person's song using 3 seconds of sample time on something that looks like you would use it to track whales in the Arctic Ocean is also a really impressive art form. And so I kind of see both arguments, but I mean, I think it's a cool sound. I think Andre's sound, the way that he wrote music, great lyricist, great, a great flutist, a great vibraphonist, a great pianist.
Multi-talented across the board.
He's just somebody who, like I said, he knew him and Jimmy Jam Harris I think of as sort of contemporaries in that they learned a little and they knew a lot about the mechanics of music and enough theory to just be able to put their sort of stamp on the music that they made. And
they know how to orchestrate songs. They know how to, like you said, write proper. It sounds like silly to say that because obviously a lot of artists know how to write songs, but there's definitely like a secret juice when it comes to this kind of thing. That some people do have that juice, and some people don't. But I'm not saying that they don't have the juice completely. They're still able to create things that are still good. But there's a magic that Andre has that I've been trying to work it out because I'm listening to like his new things and I'm listening to his old stuff and I'm keep going back and forth. I'm just like, what is this juice? And sometimes I think to myself, maybe it's just a Chicago thing. Maybe it's just like the desire to like obviously create, and the culture is just like, it's in him down to his bone. Like you said, it's just going to be, he's going to continue doing this as far as he can, basically. I don't can see him stopping anytime soon at all.
Honestly, I think Andre was young. I think he was slick. I think he was in love. I think he came from a good family. I think he had a lot of great mentors and peers in the music industry, and he was part of a program, and this is something really special, which is that he went to a music program, kind of a continuing education program at Columbia College, not to be confused with Columbia University in New York. But these people learning to be music engineers had to record a group for their kind of final projects. And he sort of worked his way into the rotation to where he essentially got unlimited studio time at this studio facility that was part of Columbia College. So, some kid from Aurora, Illinois has to record a band. Well, he doesn't know any bands in Chicago. So, here comes Andre Gibson with a brand new song that he's probably written because he knows if he doesn't have a brand new song, he's not going to have anything to record. So I think it was a very industrious, I think he was at the right age. I think he had the right inspiration. And I think that, knowing that you have access to this Zenith DB, the state-of-the-art studio, right there in downtown Chicago, is really motivation to write really big, dreamy, expansive songs. And what was really special was that we worked closely with a guy named Dan Dietrich, who ran a studio in Chicago called Wall to Wall, which happened to be the exact same studio in the exact same building that was still sort of a satellite campus for Columbia College. So Andre Gibson, when we transferred all these multi-track tapes to digital for them to be mixed by Sean Marquand in New York, me and Andre were going to the place where he recorded all of these songs.
No way.
Same red shag carpet, same vibraphone, same piano.
No way.
It was literally, and Andre Gibson was like giving us a tour of this place.
What?
Oh, well, this used to be over here, and this used to be over here, and oh, I remember coming through here. I mean, that's a Chicago story for you. That's like the beautiful way in which Chicago, it changes, but it doesn't. It doesn't have that sort of, it's not like New York where it's like, oh, what happened to that restaurant that was so great and was my favorite restaurant of all time? It's like, oh, it's a condo now. And, Chicago just luckily has enough space and has sort of like sympathetic enough landlords that like that place was still a studio being paid for by Columbia College for engineering.
This is crazy.
Majors to so those tapes were transferred on the same console that they were recorded on.
That's magic.
Dig that.
That is magic.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
my mind just completely just blown. Just like,
well,
what?
and imagine that, just walking through doors you have walked through 100 times in your life for the first time in 30 years, and just being able to find your way straight. I mean, it's really labyrinthy. It's in the basement of this building.
It must have been
Andre
emotional.
knew right where to go. It was the only time I've never gotten lost in that facility. And we went right to the control room where we saw Dan and, you know, put these tapes on. And, you know, they were recorded using the best equipment money could buy at that time. So, I mean, again, it's just when you're talking about, yeah, there might be a copy of that 45 somewhere in that barn full of spiders, which is one mastering situation when you're like, oh, take these tapes that were recorded on the best equipment possible and transfer them using the same equipment they were recorded on. You know, you have the best of all worlds. You have the best unreleased music recorded in the highest fidelity.
Mm-hmm. And that's why...
And you get to share it with the world.
And also, that's why the music sounds so good. When I'm playing the records, whether it be the album, whether it be the 45s, it sounds so good.
Yeah.
And also, I've already given thank yous like many of times to saying, thank you for really like looking after your archives. Because he said to me as well on the interview as well that he's had training knowing how to like look after archives as well. And he has that knowledge, so that's what he did. He's able to preserve these things. He knew about climate and making sure these tapes don't get too much sunlight or too much heat, and you know, and just to think it's been like 30 years of storage. 30 years. It's just...
Well, and I have to say that a great deal of gratitude is due to the guy who mixed the songs. It was a guy named Sean Marquand. He was in a group from New York called the Phenomenal Handclap Band, which was sort of a retro, more of sort of like a white linen shirt, like hippie yacht rock kind of like funk thing, like maybe like sort of a like
Easy Glide.
LSD Doobie Brothers sort of. It's not quite Easy Glide, but just like a perfect band that made kind of like perfect, just sun-soaked kind of like hippie pop in New York. Maybe we'll call it like bohemian pop. But,
bohemian pop, yeah.
But Sean, he did something for our blog about what he really did to process these signals. And I mean, he ran things, he remiked guitars, you know, sent the guitar signal out to an amp, mic'd it in a different room, pulled it back in. He did some restructuring, some rearranging, but
right.
You know, there were a few things we only had 1/4-inch tape for, which were mixed by students, you know, hungover 19-year-olds in 1981. And then there were things that Sean did, and just the meatiness, the saturation that he was able to get out of those sessions, I think really was sort of the third heat that really put a really nice patina on those sessions. So, you know, every step of the way, this just happens to be one of those records where at every juncture we did the best possible thing we could for the sessions. And, you know, down to the pressing. A lot of people say, oh, Numero records, they're quiet. When I DJ them out, I got to push them up a little bit. Nah, this is, you know, 20 minutes aside, and you can play it in the club and it just bangs. So, you know, this is one that I think is really one of the better sounding records, both from a content and from a quality of the actual files sort of standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, one of the finest records, you know, not just one of the greatest records, one of the finest records, you know.
children. Will we be free?
I often think to myself, without yourself, would this even happen? As like, you know, you was the one to call Andre, and I know sometimes you might think about that moment or not think about it, but yeah, and I guess
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is that you know, Numero is a very thorough organization, and you know, what we needed from Andre was a tape of Pull Up so we could include it on the Chicago Party soundtrack. It happened that he had a ton more tapes. We had the machinery to play it, and so, you know, you have to tug on every thread. I have no doubt that anyone else in our organization would have done the same thing that I did. But, you know, as for sort of the relationship that me and Andre fostered, I think it helped things along. And I think that my personal investment in the music and my having lived in New York and known Sean and knowing that he was kind of the guy for the job, I think that, you know, I certainly, you know, stretched out, called in some favors, you know, vetted some people, you know, turned down some mixes, and just even the photographs were photos that Andre had a contact sheet of. We contacted the original photographer, who then gave us the highest quality drum scans of the negatives for reproduction on the cover. And that cover photo is so beautiful. And, you know, in other situations, we may have had to scan that from a contact sheet and blown it up, you know, 16,000%. But instead, we paid whatever, $150 per print for those images to just be printed at maximum resolution.
Wow. And, so you got access to the original source of the negatives of those photos?
Yeah, the photographer was still working in Chicago, still had an active website. And, you know, I think that was definitely like the homie rate, because he definitely was like, yeah, not a lot of people are calling me for Universal Togetherness Band scans, so I'm going to just like charge you like the just absolute minimum licensing fee for use of these 3 photos. But again, that's a test. I mean, when Andre Gibson came over with his archives, he had parking passes from when he played festivals on Navy Pier. And he had schedules for the venues that he played at on Rush Street. I mean, just the stuff that he kept was like, I mean, it was all interesting. He's not a hoarder, but he's just somebody who I think knew that this stuff was going to be valuable one day. You know, and I think anything that any of us do, if we spend this much time on it and we pour this much of ourselves into it, it never loses value. You know, I can never understand, you know, a lot of times we deal with people and they say, oh, that record, God, you know, I wish I'd known anybody wanted it. I had a box of 100 of them and I threw them away 6 months ago when I was cleaning out my garage, you know. I mean, you hear that so often, and that's impossible for me to conceive of, because I've never made anything that incredible, you know. You know, my high school band CDR is nothing when compared to Pieces of Peace from Willie Wood's high school days. But, you know, I think Andre Gibson just knew, you know, it was important enough to allocate, you know, a shelf in his garage to. And, you know, I think he would agree when I say it paid off big time, because now he's on, you know, Netflix shows and, you know, getting sampled here and there, and, you know, getting remixed. And again, I mean, when you have music that is timeless, it will be in fashion forever, because it does not live in any one particular era. It's not dated. It's not Saturday Night Fever, you know. I mean, it's truly something that, like I said, I hate to keep harping on it, but to me, LCD Sound System, you know, they could have as toddlers, they could have found a Universal Togetherness Band tape and been like, this is the music we're going to play when we grow up. And I wouldn't be surprised, you know, because it is just this sort of like fun to dance to, even if you can't dance, sort of hippie shimmy soul music that I think is really unique. And, you know, I think we're still a long way from Andre Gibson and the Universal Togetherness Band truly receiving their due for, you know, just how impressive of a songbook they were able to construct during this time.
Who knows? Maybe one day that Grammy might come.
Well, he's a healthy guy, and he's got the love of two wonderful, supportive daughters, and you know, he doesn't eat pork. So you know, the man he's healthy. He's happy. There's love in his life, and so I think he's doing it right. I certainly hope that I can grow old with Andre Gibson. He's got a few years on me, but I hope that he'll be around for a long time to receive his flowers.
Indeed. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today about Andre. It's so good to hear this extra insights to this wonderful guy. Seriously, wonderful guy. And even now, I feel like he was obviously spending the last month for talking to him and stuff like that. I've got to know him more. And even now, I feel like I have his friends now. It's like Andre's my friend now too, and that feels great. And
he absolutely is, because that, I mean, and that's really the way it should be. Is you know, you have an exchange of cosmic currency. You know, like he made music that you love. I mean, that's a relationship. You know, and I think, you know, artists clearly get to the size where, you know, they can't respond to every fan, and maybe not every fan is really a fan. Maybe they're just keeping up with the Joneses and liking, you know, Harry Styles because they feel like they have to like Harry Styles. But you know, Andre Gibson is somebody who doesn't take a single fan for granted, and you know, and I think that's I know it's really special to him. You know, he takes every compliment to heart, and you know, knows it's sincere. And again, I've worked with a lot of great people. Love Jimmy Jam, love Andre Simone. I love these guys. I think, you know, so many of the people I worked with are certainly underrated in terms of their contribution. I would even, and that's the crazy thing, even somebody like Jimmy Jam Harris, with his garage full of Grammys, I still think is underrated as a songwriter and producer. I still do not think, you know, people really know how powerful of a musical mind we have amongst us. But Andre Gibson, he's right up there with them. I mean, he's just really, and again, I'm just glad, we were able to open the door for him and get his music into the marketplace. And, you know, when it came out, it was not a crazy selling album, but I think that it's one that over time will become one of the best selling pieces in the Numero catalog, because I just think a new generation of college radio DJs and podcasters will discover it every couple of years, and it'll just experience another wave. And hey man, that's the way to do it. Slow and steady wins the race. Definitely.
And I think that's the perfect words to end our conversations. Thank you so much, John. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time to, like I said, peek behind the veil and see how a record like this comes to be, because it just takes a lot of luck and a lot more luck.
Thanks, John. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I'll be in touch soon. All right, cheers.
All right, bud.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Studio Funk.
Oh, man. What a great interview that was. Had so much fun talking with John. discussing his memories, his relationship and friendship with Andre Gibson, working with Numero Group on the fantastic projects he's done over the years. It was an absolute honor to have him on the show. And I have to say, it was a nice follow-up to last month's show with Andre Gibson. So if you're falling a bit behind and you haven't listened to the previous show with Andre, I suggest you check it out. But we ain't done. As you can hear and judge by the tempo, we're about to get into a nice little tribute mix right now for Jon Kirby. A tribute to his hard work and efforts and his contributions and his appreciation of his work at Numero Group. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be chopping up through some records from the collection, which has Jon Kirby's name and imprint on the releases. Before we get into that, I just want to say a big shout out to everyone at my Patreon family at patreon.com/studiofunk. If you're not so aware already, at patreon.com/studiofunk, extra perks, extra episodes, extra insight. As I speak at the moment, I know recently we've got a lot of great insights surrounding the Chicago party. Unreleased material. Great coverage. Yeah, the good stuff. And I'm not forget, big shout to all the listeners of Studio Funk. I appreciate you. Anyways, time for the tribute mix.
So if you see me walk on say nothing. Walk on by, yeah, 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 yeah. You didn't even try to understand just where I was coming from. Oh no, baby. Instead of understanding, you gave me your demanding, and I couldn't stand it. Oh no, baby. But now it's much too late, and there's no time for me to try, not anymore. Oh no, baby. I don't feel no pain, it doesn't hurt inside, and I'm doing better on my own. So if you see me, walk on by, girl. Don't say nothing. Walk on by, girl. Do yourself a favor, yeah, yeah. And walk on by, girl. Don't say nothing. Walk on by, yeah, 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 yeah. Anymore. Oh no, baby. I don't feel no pain, it doesn't hurt inside, and I'm doing better on my own. So if you see me, walk on by, girl. Don't say nothing. Walk on by, girl. Do yourself a favor, yeah, yeah. You walk on by, girl. Don't say nothing. Walk on by, yeah, 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 yeah.
It's the things that you do
My sentiments, a joyous day when we can share our love together. If you really care, I'll always touch your arm, girl. I'll wait for you if it takes forever and a day, 'cause this could be the start of something lovely. My sentiments of you, my sentiments of you, sweet baby. My sentiments of you, my sentiments, my sentiments.
So don't be surprised if I leave you, baby. Now it's just so How many you see that I'm being unfair? And every time I turn around, it seems you're never there. Ooh, now you say that I'm not your only man. But girl, I'm doing the best that I can. You're so beautiful, you're just driving me crazy. Girl, I love you so much, I just can't get enough. Tra-la-la, 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 blah-da-blah-da.
Hello, love. I've been missing you for a long time, and it's something deep down
Last track of the show,
that I just want to express.
special one for me. Ooh.
Your love for me is a special thing. It makes me feel all the love it brings. To me, it's like a dream come true. shucks, star, the love that you're giving me is so damn good. It's the kind of love that one man can cherish forever through stormy weather. Like birds sing in spring, flower blossom in spring. Like the love of ivy, it's my love for you.
Studio Funk will be back next month. Second Thursday of the month. If you can't wait until then, don't forget to check out patreon.com/Studio Funk for extra insight, extra episodes, all the good stuff. Once again, big shout out to Jon Kirby. Also, big shout out to Andre Gibson. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. As always, I appreciate your time to listen and share these experiences.
Keep on doing what you done to me.
This is me signing off. I'm gonna let this one ride out. Until next time, take care. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. Studio Funk is a monthly podcast which is available on popular podcast services like Spotify and iTunes, but also can be found on other popular music services like SoundCloud and Mixcloud. If you'd like to support the show, you can do at patreon.com/Studio Funk, where you become a monthly subscriber, where you receive extra perks and extra content. Extra content includes full track list to the show, bonus episodes, giveaways, and a lot more. That's patreon.com/Studio Funk. Thank you.
Studio Funk.